Arkaim was discovered in 1987 by a team of Russian archaeologists led by Gennady Zhdanovich. The discovery was part of a systematic archaeological survey conducted in the southern Urals of Russia, specifically in the Chelyabinsk region. The survey aimed to explore the historical and archaeological potential of the area, which had a reputation for its rich cultural heritage dating back to ancient times. During the survey, aerial photography and satellite imagery played a crucial role in identifying potential archaeological sites. Arkaim stood out due to its distinctive circular shape and the presence of fortified walls, which suggested the existence of an ancient settlement. This circular layout resembled a swastika pattern when viewed from above, leading to its nickname as the Swastika City. Excavations at Arkaim began shortly after its discovery, which revealed a well-preserved Bronze Age settlement dating to approximately 2000 to 1700 BCE. The site yielded a wealth of artifacts, including pottery, tools, weapons, jewelry, and human remains, which provided valuable insights into the daily life, technology, and social organization of its inhabitants. Arkaim's significance lies not only in its archaeological remains, but also in its role as a key site in the study of the Sintashta Petrovka culture, a Bronze Age society known for its advanced metallurgy and chariot technology. The discovery of Arkaim has contributed significantly to our understanding of ancient Eurasian cultures and their interactions during this period. Since its discovery, Arkaim has become a prominent archaeological and historical site, attracting researchers, tourists, and enthusiasts from around the world. The ongoing excavations and research at Arkaim continue to uncover discoveries and deepen our knowledge of this ancient settlement and its place in the broader context of Bronze Age Eurasia. The lost city in Siberia is filled with secrets. Hope on in your time machines as we go back in time to uncover the hidden truths of a civilization. How were they so advanced in the Bronze Age? Was their technology superior to us? Why did they leave the city when they did? To find your answers, stick around to the end of this video. 1. Circular layout. Out of all the findings of the lost city of Arkaim, this has been one of the most captivating finds for archaeologists and scientists alike. It can be considered as one of the distinct factors that sets itself apart from other lost cities discovered on a previous notion. The whole city has been constructed in the manner of a circle which houses a square inside. This Bronze Age city is composed of two concentric rings, with an outer diameter of 170 meters and an inner diameter of approximately 85 meters. The rings are separated by wide circular streets. Further excavation of the place and research points a finger toward the notion of this road being used for traveling and trade within the city. Out of the two, the outer ring is considered to be a far bigger structure and more complex than the inner one. It served multiple purposes for the people that were housed within the city. Findings indicate that this ring held administrative buildings and centers, along with workshops for crafting and metallurgy. It was carved out of a mixture of timber and clay that acted as a strong defensive barrier, protecting people from invaders and attackers alike. The rings are also said to have radial streets that connect the inner to the outer ring, which creates a star-like pattern when looked at from above. At the center of the city, there is a large open space that is believed to be a hub spot for meetings, common gatherings, events, and even ritualistic practices. The precise construction of the city and its geometric patterns have led archaeologists to believe that this may be aligned or related to celestial bodies. This claim can be backed up by a variety of artifacts found at the site that are related to celestial bodies. This also sheds light on the fact that the builder who built the space had vast knowledge of stars and other celestial bodies. While some believe it to be the work of extraterrestrial bodies, there is no real evidence to prove the involvement of aliens. The discovery of this remarkable structure that seems to be way ahead of its time has put scientists and researchers in shock. How can such structures be planned and created without the use of modern equipment and technology? Is it the pure intellect and genius of the individuals who lived in the era, or was there someone else involved who is still hidden to this day? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. 2. Sophisticated urban planning. While a quick glance at the structure of Arkaim does not provide much insight into the actual purpose of building a city this way, detailed studies and observations have pointed out certain facts and possible places from which Arkaim took its inspiration. The circular and round structure that constitutes the outer and inner layers of the city seems to mirror Great Britain's ancient Stonehenge. Radiocarbon analysis of the site denotes the notion of this place being as ancient as Great Britain's Stonehenge. Apart from them, the diameters and radius of both the rings and the overall structures showcase similarity and possible connection to celestial bodies with nearly the same measurements. Another comparison that has often been drawn over these two locations points to the fact that Stonehenge of England has survived over millennia being damage-free, while the stone structures of Arkaim have supposedly been destroyed by a raging fire. This brings researchers back to the fact that how could a fire cause such damage, which leads to the collapse of a whole city? Some believe that the fire was started by the residents themselves, and they left in the midst of it, picking up whatever they could at the last minute. Speaking of the city's urban planning, it is often referred to as the swastika city due to its unique circular and radial layout. The outer rings served as an advantageous defensive position from a possible enemy invasion. The inner rings, on the other hand, housed the main city, including people, houses, and other important structures. The center was said to be a community space where people gathered for common meetings and to conduct various rituals. The whole city was well connected within itself, which assisted in communication among members of the city and the distribution of resources. It also served the purpose of boosting trade and the economy, thanks to the circular and radial paths which made travel more convenient. 3. Astronomical observations. Connecting this to our previous point of discussion, the people of Arkaim seem to have vast knowledge of stars and astronomical and celestial bodies. This is what the archaeologists and the excavators at the site have concluded. However, this speculation may turn out to be right because of the findings that they have come across while studying the site and digging up more evidence to connect the dots better. First and foremost is the layout of the city itself, which is supposedly linked to a celestial figure or phenomenon. Hold on, it gets more interesting than this. The concentric rings and the radial streets within the city are believed to be constructed in a way so that it can track the movements of the sun, the moon, and the stars. The city's overall orientation tends to align with the solar extremes of summer and winter, indicating that the builders had previous knowledge of it. Additionally, ancient structures have been recovered from in and around the site that resemble astronomical observatories. The stone configurations are said to be aligned with important astronomical events, which suggests that they were being used to mark the passage of time. This information helped the locals in conducting rituals and praising the gods alike, which were connected to celestial bodies. Some of them include stones that cast a shadow at a specific time of the year and align with certain star formations. The plaza in the center of the inner ring was supposedly used to carry out rituals as it allowed for an unobstructed view of the horizon. Other than that, researchers came across tools that were supposedly used in astronomical measurements. These tools imply that astrology was a common practice amongst the locals, and it was often used for planning agriculture. Additionally, the outer structure or the outer ring has been linked to being used for sky/heaven watching on multiple occasions. All these findings provide a great insight into the use of astronomy in the daily life of people who housed the city of Arkaim. This also tells us about the degree of respect and seriousness that was given to ritualistic and ceremonial practices based on astrology and celestial bodies. 4. Multi-ethnic inhabitants. Arkaim's multi-linguistic habitat included people from diverse ethnicities, which contributed to a versatile society rich in its cultural heritage. The recovery of various artifacts and burial sites has been linked to the diverse rituals and cultural practices that guided the people of Arkaim through their daily lives. The people of Arkaim were a part of the Sintashta Petrovka cultural complex, which was well recognized for their agricultural activities and chariot-burning rituals. The presence of the steppe and agricultural influences created a unique city that was modernized and proficient in other activities way beyond their time. This culture came into being through the supposed interaction between Indo-European steppe nomads and settled agriculturalists, creating a combination of various practices. Further research and excavation of the sites have revealed several bodies that were found. When the bodies were sent for research, which revealed people of several ethnicities calling Arkaim their home at one point in time. This was mostly due to migration from various other parts of the world and intercaste marriages amongst the population, which were not frowned upon. Other activities, including complex water management systems, advanced metallurgy, and the creation of pots and weapons, display a unique cultural blend. Burial practices at Arkaim provide further evidence of its multi-ethnic habitat. The variety of burial rites and grave goods found in the city's cemeteries indicate the presence of diverse cultural and religious traditions. Some graves contain elaborate grave goods and chariot burials, characteristic of the Indo-European warrior elite, while others reflect more modest interments typical of agricultural communities. This diversity in burial practices points to a complex social structure where different ethnic and cultural groups maintain their distinct identities while coexisting and interacting with one another. Additionally, the linguistic landscape of Arkaim likely mirrored its multi-ethnic nature. While direct evidence of the languages spoken at Arkaim is scarce, the city's position within the Sintashta Petrovka complex suggests that multiple languages and dialects were in use. This linguistic diversity would have necessitated the development of multilingual communication strategies, fostering greater social cohesion and collaboration among different groups. 5. Burial rituals of Arkaim. While it may sound odd or unbelievable at first, remember that we are talking about a civilization that existed centuries ago. Thanks to archaeology and advanced equipment, the resting place of Arkaim has been discovered and studied to give us a deep insight into their rich traditions and cultural heritage. One of the key features of burial sites discovered at the site was the use of kurgans. These are large burial mounds that are constructed over the grave. The size and complexity of the kurgans indicated the social status and the class of the person being buried. Construction of these burial vessels took great effort, but the people of Arkaim took great pride in it, as it was honoring their culture. The big and more elaborate mounds belonged to the elite members of the society, which included leaders and warriors, while the smaller mounds were used for common people. Along with bodies, there were other items recovered from the graves of the elite, including jewelry and other tools, which the locals believed would be required in the afterlife. The graves were lined with wooden planks or stones, which created a defined space for the body of the deceased. The bodies were placed in the form of a flexed position, where the body rested on one side with its knees drawn up to its chest. This was a common practice in the Bronze Era. The position in which the deceased is put to rest is supposedly linked to the soul's journey in the afterlife. Some burials have been linked to the importance of horses. Various burials which were recovered from the site provide evidence of horses being buried with the humans. The locals believe that horses play a significant role in guiding the soul to the next part of its journey, commonly termed the afterlife. Another intriguing aspect of burial was presented in the form of chariot burials. Here is what one of the workers working at the excavation site has to say about this ritual. Working in Arkaim, we found out that horses were selected for burial according to the same principles as for the real chariots. Preservation of such selection was observed even when they were used in funeral rites. Animals for rituals were chosen at approximately the same height, the same parameters that allowed them to be used in chariots. Horses were also specially selected according to their age. They were usually males between 5 and 14 years old, and at that age, they have the greatest stamina, said Pavel Kosintsev. The Arkaim culture chariot is often depicted as a symbol of strength and prestige. These burials were often referred to be linked to the warrior and the elite class, along with those who perished on the battlefield. All these practices carried out by the people of Arkaim offer a unique window into their culture and ritualistic practices. 6. Complex water management system. The complex water management system of Arkaim gives us a clue about the level of advancement those people had back in the day. Stationed near the Bolshaya Karaganka River, the location had a strategic advancement at its disposal, and it utilized it well. The people came up with some innovative methods where water could become a resource with no shortage of supply for consumption and agricultural use as well. Before constructing the system, planners considered hydraulic and environmental management. This led to the construction of canals, wells, and water reservoirs which could hold large quantities of water for the public. The planners used their engineering skills to maximize the utilization of water, ensuring sufficient and efficient distribution, along with minimal to no wastage. The most prominent structure that was constructed at the time was the underground canal system that was dug up near the river site and connected directly to different corners of the city. Additionally, the canals were lined with stone and clay to prevent leakage and ensure a steady flow of water. The use of gravity-fed systems allowed a running supply of water without the use of any heavy machinery, technology, equipment, or manual labor. The city strategically placed wells that tapped into underground resources that provided easy access for domestic use of water, including cooking, drinking, and washing clothes. The wells involved digging deep shafts and using stone structures so that it does not collapse. The reservoirs were able to store water in case of a dry period. Moreover, Arkaim's defensive walls incorporated openings and sluices to control water flow, preventing pressure buildup that could damage the walls or cause flooding. This system ensured the city's survival in a challenging environment and supported its growth and prosperity, enabling it to sustain a large population and develop a thriving community. Arkaim's water management is a remarkable example of ancient engineering and adaptation, reflecting a deep understanding of hydrology and resource management. 7. Advanced metallurgy. Not just skilled at engineering, the people of Arkaim held exceptional craftsmanship when it came to making weapons of war and tools. Excavators have come across several findings depicting tools, weapons, and other ceremonial items that act as a testament to their skill of creation. Their vast knowledge of mineral ores and other resources, including trading, helped them in picking the right metals when it came to craftsmanship. Blessed abundance with the availability of copper and tin. They used these materials mostly for making all their tools and weapons. Copper was generally used for its versatility, which further highlighted their expertise within the skill. Bronze was highly valued for its durability and versatility, making it the ideal tool for crafting weapons. The workers at Arkaim deployed sophisticated and advanced techniques of smelting and alloying metals. Metal smelting is an industrial process used to recover precious metals from waste material by mixing them with fluxes, collectors, and reductants. Alloys, on the other hand, form the base material of the metal and are generally mixed with commercially pure elements. Specialized furnaces were constructed where temperatures could reach a high temperature, sufficient enough to melt down and refine the metals. Findings of these techniques, which were used by the people of Arkaim, denote a high knowledge of principles of advanced metallurgy. The production of metal artifacts in Arkaim was followed by several steps, including ore extraction, smelting, casting, and finishing. After extracting the metal ores, the ores were crushed and smelted in furnaces to separate the metal from impurities. The molten metal was then cast into molds to form various objects. The molds discovered at Arkaim indicate the use of both open and closed casting techniques, which allows for the creation of intricate designs and shapes. After the metals were cast, they worked further to provide adequate finishing. For this, the workers incorporate techniques such as hammering and polishing, which enhance the strength and appearance of the final product. The findings at Arkaim denote that the practice of metallurgy was beyond just work and practiced as a form of art. The findings included axes, knives, jewelry, and other ornaments. Going beyond weapons of war, they played a significant role in ceremonial and ritualistic practices as well. Artifacts recovered from the grave of the elite indicate that they ranked higher in social status. Apart from this, the whole metallurgy industry was well coordinated, where there was concrete communication among the workers and traders alike. This just goes on to show the level of advancement these communities had. It helped them set a trademark for metallurgy, which we can study today. 8. Evidence of the trade network. Arkaim's trade network was a critical component of its economic and cultural zest, which reflected an advanced system of exchange that extended far beyond its immediate region. Arkaim was strategically positioned to serve as a hub for trade routes connecting Europe and Asia. This advantageous location assisted the flow of goods, ideas, and technologies between diverse cultures, which contributed to the city's prosperity. Evidence from archaeological excavations revealed a wide array of imported materials and artifacts, which suggested broad trade connections. One of the primary commodities involved in Arkaim's trade network was metal, particularly bronze. However, the raw materials for bronze, copper, and tin were not locally available in sufficient quantities, which indicates these metals being imported from distant regions. Copper likely came from the Ural Mountains, while tin, a rarer commodity, may have been sourced from as far away as Central Asia or even the British Isles. This also provides an insight into the extensive reach of Arkaim's trade contacts. In addition to metals, Arkaim imported and exported a variety of other goods. Pottery, textiles, and foodstuffs are among the items that would have been traded. The presence of non-local pottery styles and exotic items like shells and beads in Arkaim indicates cultural exchanges and the movement of luxury goods. The trade network also simplified the exchange of agricultural products, essential for sustaining the city's population and economy. Livestock, including horses, cattle, and sheep, were vital for transportation, agricultural work, and trade goods themselves. The movement of these animals between regions contributed to the genetic diversity and resilience of livestock populations in Arkaim. Arkaim's role as a trade hub was further supported by its infrastructure and social organization. The presence of large storage facilities and evidence of craft workshops indicate specialized production and the capacity to handle significant volumes of trade items. Moreover, the exchange network facilitated the spread of technological innovations and cultural practices. The diffusion of ideas through trade helped to integrate Arkaim into a broader cultural and economic sphere, influencing and being influenced by neighboring regions. In conclusion, Arkaim's trade network was a sophisticated and far-reaching system that played a crucial role in the city's economic and cultural life. The import and export of metals, pottery, textiles, livestock, and luxury goods reflect a complex web of connections with distant regions. This trade not only provided essential resources but also facilitated the exchange of ideas and technologies, contributing to Arkaim's development as a vibrant and prosperous center in the ancient world. The city's strategic location, advanced infrastructure, and social organization enabled it to thrive as a key hub in a vast network of commerce and cultural exchange. 9. Unexplained abandonment. This is probably one of those questions that bugs archaeologists and researchers alike. A city that was located in an advantageous location with a fleet of natural resources at its disposal, accompanied by a rich culture within a modernized society. How and why was it abandoned? Consider the pointers discussed before this. The city was flourishing in almost every aspect of their lives, whether it was in terms of society, or it was culture, or sustaining themselves. Highly skilled workers made metallurgy an art form and an extensive trade network that connected them to powerful allies and established a strong communication network that reached as far as Central Asia. So what went wrong, and where did it all begin, which led to the abandonment of a well-established city? While a finger cannot be pointed to one specific factor that could lead to the precise cause of abandonment, some theories have been studied extensively to get to the bottom of this. Let's have a look at them one by one. The most believable or agreed upon hypothesis relates to the environmental changes around the area where the city was established. This could have been the leading factor in the abandonment of Arkaim. As mentioned before, the city was located near the Bolshaya-Karaganka River, which acted as a constant source of water. However, the semi-arid climate of the region went through major shifts that led to prolonged droughts and dry seasons. Running out of an important resource such as water, which is the basic necessity of every living creature, could have been a massive factor that led people to pack their bags and leave while they still could. Another theory is somewhat related to the depletion of yet another natural resource on which the city relied. Climate change might have caused massive depletion of natural resources which were required for the metallurgy industry. It was one of the strongest industries within the city and the foundation for the whole economy. This affected the trade route, and practices also got disrupted, eventually leading the city to lose business on a massive scale. This could have been a possible reason for the people of Arkaim to leave and look for a new place that could provide more natural resources. A third theory points towards a rather mysterious factor. Excavators came across charred structures which included certain statues and house-type structures. It is estimated that a massive fire might have been responsible for the fleeing of people. The reason behind this fire is yet to be confirmed, and whether it was due to a fire at all remains a mystery. 10. Tourism and modern influence. While archaeologists and researchers have spent their time researching and unraveling the secrets of the site for a long time now, it has also attracted huge attention from the general population. Tourists from around the world and people who are fascinated by history and such findings have been coming from around the globe just to get a glimpse of the site and what it is all about. This led to the construction of the Arkaim Museum near the excavation site in the Chelyabinsk region of Russia. The museum acts as a living example of the fact that civilization existed in the place at some time. It depicts a wide variety of artifacts put out on public display that are a testament to the deep cultural heritage of the place that was called home by thousands. The museum showcases traces of knives, weapons, and other artifacts recovered by archaeologists. Along with that, there are reconstructed structures of houses and buildings which were significantly prevalent in the Middle Bronze Age. Both of these factors combined provide a great insight into the level of craftsmanship the people of Arkaim held. The museum also holds exhibitions and guided tours that provide comprehensive descriptions of the Sintashta Petrovka cultural complex. Certain educational programs are also designed for the sole purpose of igniting interest among visitors and scholars alike. Guided tours often consist of the actual sites which have been dug up and examined by the excavators. The natural surroundings and the overall location of the place also act as an attraction for tourists. This has also been supported by the development of facilities like local accommodations such as small hotels, guest houses, and camping sites. Additionally, local people provide handcrafted artifacts that hold the essence of ancient times. This adds an interesting cultural touch for the tourists and also benefits the economy of the locals. Overall, tourism, along with the history of the place, has had a modern influence on the site. Even after being lost to us physically, its essence is very much alive to this day. 11. Aya statue looking up to the sky. Out of all the archaeological finds of Arkaim, this has been the most fascinating one. While excavating the site and studying everything that was found buried in the ground, researchers came across a mysterious statue. The statue is shaped in the form of a man who is seated in a position and is looking up towards the sky. This has aroused a wave of curiosity amongst the scientific community as well as authors who have covered the location in their books. Looking at the structure of Arkaim, it is believed to coincide with exactly 18 astronomical events that happened in outer space. It is questioned to this day that how can a civilization know about such a phenomenon when they did not have the technology that exists today to study space and its structures? Also, scientists have claimed that despite its size, 50% of Russia remains inhabited to this day. These areas mostly consist of rugged terrains including mountains, barren deserts, and dense forests. The harsh climatic conditions make the places very hard to explore. Speculations have gone wild with the belief that the architecture of the city was not designed by people alone, but was supported by extraterritorial beings. It has also raised the questions of ancestral knowledge about space and stars. Comparing it to Stonehenge in Britain, it seems as if the civilizations before us knew things that we do not know today. Additionally, people from the scientific community claim that the overall structure of the city looks like a launch pad of a rocket. While there is no concrete evidence to prove it, there is no evidence against the point as well. Many have reported strange lights, dense clouds of fog, and compasses behaving unusually in the area. Moreover, the location in terms of its latitude and longitude is known to be advantageous for understanding the mysteries of space better. It could have been used for the same purpose by aliens. As impressive as this archaeological find is, it is scary at the same time as well. How did such a city with modern twists and elements come into existence at the time it did? What was the people's connection with stars and other celestial bodies in the space? Was it that deep that they performed dedicated ceremonies related to the same? Was the city destroyed by a raging fire? Or it was just as simple as a climatic change? Questions like this and many more remain unanswered to this day. However, recent discoveries, as we spoke of in the video, changed everything we know about this mysterious and unknown place. Have you ever visited the location or plan to do it sometime? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.